Welcome back everyone. Today we're diving into the Sacramento Regional Championships, the first major tournament to feature surging sparks in competitive play. New cards, new strategies, and even the resurgence of fan favorite decks. There is a lot to unpack. Let's break it all down and give you the highlights you've been waiting for. Before we get into Sacramento Regionals, let's quickly recap the Latin America International Championships, which marked the grand finale of the Stellar Crown format. As expected, Raging Bolt EX was the most played deck, with Regidrago EX and Lugia V-Star also showing strong representation. Meanwhile, Terapagos EX was the one who gained a lot of traction following some impressive performances in the build-up to LAIC. Ultimately, however, it was Miloslav Posledny from the Czech Republic who emerged victorious with his innovative take on Regidrago. His journey started with a 6-2 Day 1 record, which did mean he had to go undefeated in Day 2 Swiss. This was before taking down multiple Charizards and multiple Regidragos in top cuts on the way to the crown. This win secured him $25,000, the title of LAIC champion, and an automatic invite to the World Championships. Now, with Surging Sparks legal, the Pokemon TCG community had many questions to answer. How would Surging Sparks shake up the meta coming from LAIC? Could Regidrago EX maintain its dominance after winning 3 out of the last 4 major events? And how would decks like Hydreigon EX or Cerulege EX, which have been hyped up online, live up to expectations? Now let's fast forward to Sacramento Regionals. With over 1,700 master players, this event was the battleground for the first test of Surging Sparks. Like all regionals, players were competing for those championship points, booster packs, $10,000 for the winner, and of course that automatic invite to the World Championships. Casting the action in California were Pablo Meza, Shelby Boo, Adam Watson, Juancho Saldana, and Jeremy Jalen. Sacramento delivered a meta surprise right out of the gate. Raging Bolt EX was no longer the most played deck in Day 1. After dominating the meta for much of the season, it was finally dethroned by Regidrago. This shift had made a lot of sense given Regidrago's impressive run over recent events. The only real surprise is that it did not happen sooner. Beyond the top 2, Charizard EX secured 3rd place with an 8.75% meta share, followed closely by Lost Box decks, featuring the new Terra Pikachu EX at 6.56. Interestingly, no other archetype beyond this exceeded 5.2% representation, as we see Lugia V-Star and Gardevoir EX also on our graphic. This signaled an incredibly diverse field where players brought their most creative strategies, as we only see from these top 6 decks just over 50% representation. Day 2 was ushered in with a new twist thanks to the recent mid-season format changes. Players with 16 match points now advanced to Day 2, which resulted in a massive field of over 300 competitors who made it in. Unsurprisingly, the top 4 decks actually stayed static. Regidrago EX, Raging Bolt EX, Charizard EX, and Lost Box continued to dominate. Notably, Regidrago EX surged to a 17.11% meta share in Day 2, with nearly a quarter of Regidrago players advancing. The only other change from Day 1 was Golden Go EX, cracking the top tier, whilst Lugia V-Star faded from relevance entirely. So what does this really mean for the evolving meta? Here are just a few observations. Day 1 and Day 2 fields were consistent. The top 4 decks, as mentioned already, remained unchanged between Day 1 and Day 2. With more players advancing under the new rules, the field is potentially large enough still in Day 2 to reduce the random variance. So therefore, expect the meta from Day 1 to carry over a little bit more predictably into Day 2 going forward. Lugia's decline. Lugia V-Star has struggled lately, and Surging Sparks certainly won't have helped. Cards like Terra Pikachu EX and Magneton have given license to Lightning decks like Miraidon EX to come back into the meta with better tools to not only counter Lugia but just face off against the other decks in general. While still powerful, it's clear that Lugia is having to take a step back, at least for now. The online does not equal offline meta. Pre-Sacramento, decks like Cerulege EX and Hydreigon EX were gaining a lot of traction and popularity. However, they barely made an impact in this tournament. It's a reminder that online results, whilst useful, do not always align with in-person competition. But for now, before we look too much further, the results of Sacramento were an interesting read. Sacramento's top cut was dominated by Regidrago, which had claimed 5 of the 9 asymmetric top cut slots. The remaining spots included 1 Charizard EX, 2 Miraidon EX decks, and 1 Golden Go EX. In the end, however, it was Miraidon EX, bolstered by Terra Pikachu, the poster boy of Surging Sparks, and Magneton that stole the show. Landon Kaler of Canada emerged victorious, becoming a 2-time regional champion and securing his automatic Worlds invite. Landon's journey through the top cut was impressive, defeating 2 Regidrago players back-to-back, including Noah Sakajian, and dominating Grant Shen in a clean top 4 sweep. The final was a Miraidon mirror match against Kenneth Gilman. It was a high-octane battle with explosive setups utilizing electric generators where we saw massive turn 1 knockouts. Ultimately, Landon's ability to capitalize on early prize leads in games 1 and 3 secured his victory. It was interesting to note that both our finalists have stated that going first when blind into a matchup was the right decision. In the final, however, in the mirror, the player who decided to go second and take the first 2 prizes ended up winning the game. Miraidon in the end found itself in a field of good matchups, so it was no surprise it was able to take down the Regidragos in top cut and find themselves both in the final. Being able to quickly take down 2 prizes, especially those V Pokemon like the Regidrago, as well as having a better matchup into Charizard now because of the utility of the Magneton, meant it was well positioned. All in all, it's just one massive final congratulations to Landon for his victory in the Masters division, but also to Nathan and Issa for bringing home the senior and junior titles respectively as well. Following the conclusion to Sacramento Regionals, next up we head to Stuttgart, where Europe will get its first taste of the Surging Sparks meta. Being so early in the format with plenty of new cards yet to be seen, there are still so many questions to answer. Will we see a shift and difference in the meta between North America and Europe? Can new archetypes emerge and challenge the established decks? And after back-to-back top 4 finishes, is it time to take Golden Go EX seriously as a contender? I can't wait to see what innovations Europe can bring to the table. Stuttgart promises to be an exciting follow-up to Sacramento. Thank you so much for tuning in. What did you guys think of Sacramento Regionals? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Pokemon TCG updates and tournament recaps. See you in Stuttgart.